everyone! I'm going to be just talking about channel updates and health updates in this video, so if that's not your kind of video, then you can go ahead and just click away. I'm not going to be putting makeup on in this video. So sorry to disappoint you guys. I did film this look using Blend Bunny All Done Up and a couple other products, and I absolutely love this look, and I'm so overdue filming this, and I created such a beautiful look that I'm obsessed with right now that I thought it would be such a waste to wash it off when I could film a second video using it. I have alluded to it several times now, kind of almost like shaded myself, and I'm not here to toss a pity party for myself. I'm working very hard to get my issues resolved, but I thought I would share the updates with you guys because I also want to go ahead and share some channel updates of some new things I want to do. I kind of sort of posted about it, kind of sort of talked about it a really long time ago, but back in 2022 in February I did travel to Atlanta to get surgery for endometriosis. It took months. Like, this was a process that took almost a year of going from doctor to doctor to doctor until I finally had to apply to see a specialist myself, going under the knife, getting all the endometriosis removed, getting a hysterectomy, everything done. And from there I was feeling a lot better, but the recovery process, as you can imagine, can take a really long time. So it took me the better part of a year to recover. Kind of late summer I got the C. I don't know, my camera flips me, so maybe this way. I was fully boosted. I had all my vaccines. It was my mistake. I was invited to a wedding that I really just could not refuse because the bride was such a good friend of mine. I felt really bad saying no, so I had to travel for the wedding. I initially thought to myself, oh, maybe I'll just like keep my mask on the whole time and I'll just like be like, hey, maybe I can just take the food to go. But then when the food started being served and everything, I felt really awkward, and like I felt like I would like make her, kind of put her in an awkward position if I didn't participate like everyone else did, because I have social anxiety and I don't like sticking out. And it turns out that like half the wedding got sick, so congratulations to us. It wasn't super bad, like it was kind of bad, like it's worse than a cold, but like I was able to get over it at home. I recovered. I didn't die, so obviously probably qualified as a mild case. In the months following, I started noticing on my Fitbit that my calorie count was way higher than it was supposed to be. Like, my Fitbit is going to start clocking me at like 2,000 to 2,300 calories burned a day. Now I can hit that, but not every single day, especially if I'm not working out like I usually do, which I wasn't at the time. And so I was like, okay, that's really weird. Why is it saying I'm exercising all the time? Why is it saying I'm burning all these calories? I started noticing when I was on vacation with my parents in October. I posted about it on my Instagram, some snapshots of places that we went, like the Grand Canyon and stuff. I noticed on that vacation, so ever since I was a teenager, I've had issues where kind of in the middle of the night or when I wake up in the morning to use the bathroom, I would suddenly get severe syncope episodes. And if you've ever had one of those, you literally feel like you're about to die and your brain goes full primal mode and you just completely panic. You feel like you're dying. Every part of you feels too hot and too cold at the same time. You can't move, but at the same time you want to just like flail every limb as hard as you possibly can. You may even lose your vision because, again, your blood is not circulating to your head, so you may even temporarily go blind, which happens to me. It's not fun. So it's periodically happened on and off to me ever since I was a teenager, but it was never often enough that my mom thought to ask my pediatrician about it when I was younger, and she would be like, oh, that used to happen to me too, and then I grew out of it. So she was like, oh, it's normal because it happened to me, which is like the trap everybody likes to fall for. I never really have grown out of it, like, but it never happens to me super often. Like, it would happen maybe like under 10 times a year kind of a situation, and sometimes I'd even have years where I only got it 2 or 3 times. So I never really thought it was a super big deal. And I also would notice things like me and my mom, we always kept like sugar, we always ate a lot more salt just to kind of keep our blood pressure up, stuff like that. But we never really like took note of it. But it got really bad when I was on vacation over there. I started getting syncope episodes like consecutive nights, which never happens. It was really weird. And then when I got back home, I started paying more attention to things, and I started noticing that I would get out of breath really easily. My heart rate would skyrocket. I was really fatigued. At that point, I was like, okay, I need to do something about it. So I went back, I looked very carefully. I took a fine-tooth comb through all of my Fitbit data. I started logging some observations that I've made for myself, and like, if you ever have endometriosis or any other sort of condition where, especially if you identify as a woman, you will totally understand having to really keep track of yourself and observe yourself and advocate for yourself to get doctors to listen to you. So at this point, I'm pretty good at keeping track of my symptoms, and so I'm logging everything, I'm looking at everything, and I start to notice that my resting heart rate is about 15 beats higher than it used to be. And I was like, okay, I'm not that out of shape. Like, I know I haven't really exercised as intensely as I used to, but I'm not that out of shape that my resting heart rate would just go through the roof. I'm not that out of shape that I would go out of breath so easily. And I started noticing on some days I would stand and I would get dizzy, or like I would sit upright and I would get dizzy. So stupid. And the Syncope episodes continued to be just way too frequent for my likings. And I noticed that my Fitbit would regularly throughout the day clock me as being in the elevated exercise zone, when all I did was like basic chores. It's not exercise, like it's something, but it's not exercise. Clearly, because all my Fitbit has to go off of is my heart rate, something's really wrong. So I started to look into it, and I went to see my primary care doctor about it early February after I got back from Hawaii, and she measured my pulse when I went on a very slow walk down the hallway, because that day I was too dizzy to really stand properly. So when she had me walk with the pulse measure on my finger, I was walking really slow so I wouldn't tip over, and my heart rate went up straight above like 110. Like it went from 70 to like 110 plus. So that's a really dramatic disparity in heart rate. And so she's referred me to cardiology, which I actually do have an appointment. I'm going to be going and seeing cardiology in 2 weeks, which actually I'm super lucky that I can get in that soon, because wait times for some specialists can be really crazy long. So I am definitely very happy. 2 weeks, I was expecting 2 months at least. So I'm going to get further testing done with them. But in the meantime, based on what I've been talking to with some people online, and based on the fact that I seem to have had a problem that I got from my mom, it seems that getting the sickness has made it go from mild and ignorable to quite bad and interrupting my daily life. And I am 90% sure that, now I'm not self-diagnosing myself, nor am I advocating for self-diagnosing myself, but I knew I had endometriosis before I ever got a doctor to confirm. And when I went under the knife, my ultrasounds were all completely clear, but I went under the knife anyways, and it was all over the frickin' place. So I'm not self-diagnosing myself, nor do I advocate for self-diagnosing, but at the same time, if you've ever been in a position like me where you've been ignored, but you know something's wrong and you are pretty sure you have a name for it, your gut feeling, it feels like it fits, then you know how it feels, where you kind of know before the doctors do. I am like 90% sure that I have had POTS ever since I was a teenager, and that getting sick made it so that even though I was fully boosted, getting sick has made it become really severe and really difficult to deal with. Now, obviously, I am still very lucky. Like, I know some people online are in wheelchairs, they have to have oxygen concentrators, they're essentially bedbound, they can't even sit or stand for any length of time. Like, I can at least go to the store, I can still take care of my cats, I can still sit here upright and film. Like, I am already very lucky, but it definitely still is a huge damper on my energy levels, because, like, for example, I posted about this on Instagram because it was so upsetting. I was doing the Pokemon Go Hoenn Global weekend, and I was doing some very easy slow, because if you've ever played Pokemon Go, you're not walking fast to play that game. So I'm walking and catching and then walking and catching. So I probably logged 4 hours a day I was out at the park with everybody else. I walked probably a total of maybe 2 miles each day, which 2 miles in 4 hours. But on Monday, I couldn't even sit up in bed without just completely going faint. So I was bedbound the entire day, and then Tuesday was better, but I still had to stay in bed for most of the afternoon, and it's only today that I'm able to recover. But when I went out to go do raid hour at 6 p.m. with the Pokemon Go group, after standing and again walking slowly, because we're standing still when we're doing the raid, and so we literally, and the Pokestops are very concentrated in the park, I probably walked, like 1/10 of a mile to do raid hour with people. But after standing up and walking slow and standing stationary for like 20 minutes, I was really starting to lose my ability to stay focused. Like, I was getting really dizzy, just completely feel like I'm about to faint. Like, it's a problem. Like, I thought on the weekend that I was fine, because on Saturday and Sunday evening, I felt great and I felt fine walking, but Monday I completely crashed, and I'm evidently still recovering from that. So the really frustrating part is that it's like I don't know where my limits are, because sometimes I feel like I know where my limits are, but other times I'll think I'm doing great, And so I stay inside my limits, but then the next day my body suddenly decompensates very, very quickly and I just completely crash. It's very, very frustrating, and I know there are many of you guys who watch my videos who have had or currently are dealing with similar chronic issues that lead to fatigue as a symptom, so you totally understand and catch my drift. And so for those of you out there who are suffering through something kind of similar, I'm very sorry because it sucks. So that's what's been happening. So as you can imagine, it's really been throwing off my filming schedule because, for example, on Monday I couldn't even sit up straight without getting really faint. Obviously I can't film, but as you can imagine, totally affects my mental health because like you throw my ADHD into the mix and the anxiety and the depression, and how like when I can't get anything done, when my motivation and my to-do list exceeds my physical capabilities, I'm sure you guys can put 2 and 2 together. That's very, very frustrating to have to deal with. Total party pooper kind of thing, like, you know, it's upsetting. That's why you notice that when I did my Lunar Beauty video, I broke it into 2 videos. So instead of doing 2 looks, 1 palette and it's in one video, I did 2 separate get ready with me's, but I used the same palette in both videos because sometimes I just need some stuff to pad out my upload schedule. I don't want to be that kind of person who's uploading content just that's straight filler. Like, I don't want to be doing anime filler arc for my entire YouTube channel, but it is definitely true that not having a regular upload schedule or missing uploads in your schedule, it's not forgiving. YouTube's not really forgiving with that. So I still do need to kind of make sure I keep my upload schedule regular. I will probably be doing that a little bit more often from now on, so there'll be fewer X looks 1 palette videos and more videos where I'm just using the same palette and multiple get ready with me's. If you're just here to see me use the palette, then you just can skip to the part where I'm applying eyeshadow, watch it, and then watch the next video. Like, that's completely, like, you can just do that. So I think it's fine, and I have gotten some comments from people saying that you completely understand and you don't mind, so I thank you very much for your support. I definitely don't want to stop filming YouTube videos because I really enjoy it, but I am just going to have to kind of reconsider my ambitions. And the other thing is that I did again post about this where I skipped the Odin's Eye collection, and I need to scale back on my makeup purchases because not only am I going to be paying to see specialists, and I'm pretty sure this isn't going to be the only time I'm seeing a cardiologist or any other specialist, like who knows what I'm gonna have to do, but I also do have some home things I do need to do. I don't want to call it home renovations because that makes it sound like some kind of luxurious upgrade that I'm doing to make my home fancier. These are home maintenance almost, I would call it, where there's just some things I need to update or change or add to my home furniture, etc. Bring things up to date. There's some hardware that needs upgrading, so I need to put my money into that. I've already upgraded my vacuum, which, thank goodness, I finally have a new vacuum. I've been using the other one for 6 years now, and I still have it. I didn't get rid of it, so now I have 2 vacuums, but my vacuum really needed upgrading. So for instance, I needed to spend money on that. I really want to / need to upgrade the air filters in my house. I have 2 cheap like Honeywell air filters, 1 on each floor. I would really like to upgrade those to far more powerful, far more efficient air filters. And then also like things like it's spring, so I need to get my AC tuned up. I need to get that maintained so that my AC doesn't die this summer. You know, just basic things around the house that need to be done. So I have other priorities right now, so I really want to cut back on my makeup. I also need to be honest with myself because I almost feel like I'm still buying makeup as if I'm filming at max capacity. Like, I'm still buying makeup as if I was filming at what I initially intended to film at. But the truth is I'm not. I cannot film as much as I used to. I cannot keep up as much as I used to, which never was even that fast to begin with anyways, but it's definitely not going to get any faster, even just for the practical reasons of not being able to get around to using everything that I want. I definitely sometimes accidentally retail therapy myself. I don't necessarily have a shopping addiction, but I'll fixate on things. If I see something I want, I'll fixate on it. Like, I know a lot of people, it's like, oh, if you sleep on it and you don't want it the next day and you move on. I will sleep on something and I will still want it 6 months later. Like, the primary thing right now really is that I need to only buy what I actually will use and film with. I cannot be buying as if I film 6 videos a week because I'm not ever going to be able to do that for the foreseeable future. Let's be realistic here. I'm currently filming about 2 to 3 times a week, and I would like to film more like 4 times a week is what my goal would be. So let's say I film 4 times a week. I would say that I'd be able to thoroughly use and test, because, you know, I also enjoy using what I have. Like, I have what I have for a reason, so I do really like to just continue to indulge in my collection. So I would have the mind space to review maybe like 2 to 3 products a week. And if I'm not able to get a handle on my self-discipline, I'll buy things as if I was able to review 6 or 7 products a week. And then I suddenly end up with, and trust me, I have my hall of shame, I end up with products I never get around to using. And that's not okay. There's situations like the VDL and Faber-Castell collab where I bought it, I filmed with it, but I mostly knew I was buying it mostly to put on display, and that's completely fine. But 99% of the time I'm not buying makeup to display it. It's really hard for me to establish these kinds of habits for myself, because like one thing with people who have ADHD, and especially it's egregious if you had like any sort of like adverse childhood experiences or anything, there's a lot of research being done on this. But one thing I've noticed about myself that I then was very severely validated by a bunch of recent papers is that I don't really feel positive emotions when I achieve something. Like, my reward center is functionally not there. Like, I don't have it. My software was installed without that feature. It's not there. So I accomplish something, I achieve a goal, I finish a project, and then I'm just like, okay, we're moving on to the next one. I don't feel anything. I don't feel a sense of completion. I don't feel milestones. So it's very, very difficult already for me to do things responsibly because I don't feel the accomplishment. And like, it's one thing to demand being rewarded for every little thing, like children, like it's one thing for that, but it's another thing to fundamentally not have a part of your brain that is pretty critical to establishing connections and creating habits. So I don't have that pathway to form good habits or stick to routines. Like, the whole idea of if I go on a low buy and I achieve the low buy, I'm really not going to get anything out of it, so I have no reason to keep it going. It does not make my life any easier. So what I am planning on doing, you guys are gonna have to really play nice with me, okay? I've already started a series on my Instagram with a stories highlight and everything, so you can go there and watch me clown myself off the cliff. I'm going to be posting publicly the makeup that I buy. I don't know how well this is gonna go. At the very least, it'll kind of make me step back and pause and be like, okay, why do I want this product? Should I be buying it? Am I gonna have time to use it? Like, we're gonna slow down and think about things, you know? So I've already started adding to my highlights because, so you can go check that out, and I may film about it. I don't know if I'll have time. I do have a budget and I do track my purchases privately already, but I think this will add another level of, at the very least, just some mindfulness so that I really know why I want things and I'm like, okay, is this really justified or do I really need it? Like, I'm not really calling it a low buy though. I don't have high hopes for this, but so you guys play nice. Don't throw me hard balls on this one. Other than that though, I think you're, for the most part on this channel this year, just gonna see me using a lot of very old makeup because I'm still working on going through my queue. But you know, that's fine because like I don't need to get more eyeshadow palettes. So as you can see, this look was done using the Blend Bunny All Done Up palette. I still need to work on her Lure palette. Yeah. So we'll see where that takes me, but I hope that this channel update was somewhat enlightening for you guys, just to kind of see what's going on with my filming stuff. Yeah, I'm probably not going to really talk about it again. I'll just keep throwing shade if I feel like it, but I just don't really want to talk about it too much. I think I've already overshared a little bit because ADHD and oversharing name a more iconic duo. I do really appreciate you guys being always ever so courteous and kind. I do really appreciate it. It definitely makes my hobby even more fun. Thank you guys as always. I will catch you guys in the next video very, very soon. Bye-bye.